Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wisdom podcast. This is episode number 4. I am Tyler Y'all. This is my co-host, Chris Kellum, and our special guest,
Palmer Grigsby. What's up, guys?
And I actually first met Palmer at Brunson's MMA and Fitness here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And the reason why he needed to be on this podcast is I have never met someone where you're punching each other in the face and he has the most witty, sarcastic, hilarious things that he could possibly say to you. And he has an awesome background as well, but that's why he had to be on this.
I appreciate it, guys. And like I said, if you're getting punched in the face, you know, talking in between getting punched kind of softens the blow a little bit.
That's very true. And actually, Palmer was gracious enough to bring his own bourbon in today since he's a Kentucky boy himself.
That's right. So just brought some Knob Creek 9-year in. Like I said, if you're going to be in the Whiskey and Wisdom podcast, might as well bring some Kentucky bourbon. So this is brewed in Claremont, Kentucky, which is just about 20, 30 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So it's a, I guess, local to Mooresville, Kentucky bourbon.
Very, very cool.
So I was randomly looked this up. Did you know that they recently got that 9-year stamp back on them? Like
No.
in the past 2 years. Because for a time, because they were selling so much whiskey that they didn't have anything aged up. And so they legit took the stamp off. There's a couple years that didn't have a stamp that said 9-year on it.
That's unsurprising because I feel like bourbon really blew up over the past 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense. They're selling out. I remember one of my favorite bourbons is, the tree anyway, is Buffalo Trace.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to find Buffalo Trace, even in Kentucky sometimes.
Really?
I'll have people come down and it's I can't even find Buffalo Trace myself.
Wow.
So I'm definitely not going to be able to find it for you.
No, we'll have to try that soon.
Yeah.
We were
that's
talking
gonna
about
be
that the other day.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a quick one to get if we can get a hold of it somehow.
Most certainly. I'll be like your sticky fingers trying to weed and try to get some out there. For
Yeah,
you guys.
sounds good.
We got a Kentucky bourbon plug.
Yes.
Right.
I like that.
Sponsored by.
Exactly.
Oh, but yeah. Let's cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas. Put a little hair on your chest there, Tyler. Y'all.
Yeah, I know. About time. Getting old enough now.
Oh.
So, Palmer, tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, what you do, what you used to do, and kind of where you got.
All right. So I was born in Mooresville, Kentucky, the only child of Tim and Ann Grigsby. And I got here to Wilmington by really just an not really odd stretch of events, just kind of tired of living in Kentucky. And it's not that I don't love Kentucky or my family or friends there, but you just kind of have to leave where you're comfortable and do something different and strike out. And I met a wonderful, wonderful lady named Shawnee Mills, who I married. And when we were both living in Kentucky, we were both working. I was a salesman for a company called UniFirst,
Right.
which I'm sorry to anyone listening to UniFirst. You can get out of it one day, I promise. You can see the light. You can get out of that place. But I was working a sales job there. And she was doing hair, and we were both kind of burnt out with corporateness. And so we just she used to live in Texas and then Colorado. And she's like, I want to live on the beach. And I was like, well, I'm incredibly white. So I don't know about the beach would be best for my pigmentation, but let's do it. Let's live on the beach. Looked at Florida and it's don't want to live in Florida. Mm-hmm. Georgia, don't want to go north like Virginia Beach. And there's this little piece of land hanging off in North Carolina. We're like, what's that? They're there, And so we flew down to Wilmington and we had awesome weather and stuff. And we drove around town and loved it. And so oddly enough, UniFirst had a job opening here. And I was like, well, I can work for them just a little bit longer.
Right.
And so that's how we got our foot in the door in Wilmington. I took a sales job here in Wilmington, worked there for a while. And Shawnee was like, with what she did with hair, she's like, I don't want to do hair anymore. I'm over the chemicals and all that stuff. And she's a brilliant artist and painter. She's like, I want to sell paintings. It's like, okay, it works for me. It's just good as anything else.
Right.
And so she did that for a couple months. And then she thought of a brilliant little idea called Letters From Afar. Mm-hmm. And then we've been doing Letters From Afar for 4.5 years now.
Oh, wow.
So a little business born out of moving, changing it up we've been doing it for 4.5 years now, at least.
Nice.
That's fantastic. So how did she come up with, not to steal her thunder, because that'd be great to have her on and talk about it too, but how did you come up with that idea?
Well, that's a good question. I remember the day that we were just thinking of something to do, because being a salesman in corporate America, I have the utmost respect for all of them to do it, because it is a soul crushing and it is a dog eat dog world. No matter where you're at, I don't care if you're selling the highest of highs or you're selling the lowest of lows. Like, it's the most competitive, just like you hear no all the time. And it's insane. And it tears your confidence in half.
Yeah.
And so I came home one day and she was like, I think I have an idea. She's like, I think I want to write letters to kids about the world. And I thought, me being such a narrow-minded ogre, I was like, boy, I'll be working at UniFirst for a hot second, won't I? And then I was like, but you know what? Like, let's roll with it. Like, if it pays the water bill, it pays the water bill. And that's one less bill that we have to worry about. And we just worked on it. And I think after the first 6 months of doing it, there was just one night we were sitting in our living room. We were renting off of Fifth Avenue. And we used to have this little money ding every time we got a subscription.
Oh, that's cool.
This little cha-ching would go off. And I think that night it went off like 20 or 30 times.
Nice.
Wow.
And we thought that something was wrong with we thought like, there's no way people are buying this. Well, we've never had this many orders in one night. Like,
There's
let alone
a glitch in the matrix.
Yes. Like, there's something going on here. And sure enough, like, we got all these orders just randomly one night. Someone had bought it, posted on Instagram and shared it or whatnot. And it just took off. And so we're like, okay, like this has got some potential. Like, this is not just going to pay like the water bill. Like, this is going to be something that's going to take over. And I think after about 1.5 years of me working at UniFirst, saved up and whatnot, and then I quit UniFirst. It was like the best day in the world.
Yeah.
Quit UniFirst. I had like my Andy Dufresne moment when he escaped Shawshank.
Yeah.
Like, I went in, it was a sunny day, and then I went and then quit, and it started raining and thundering, and I felt like Andy Dufresne when he got out of that shit pipe, and all the rain just washed away all that shit. That's how I felt leaving UniFirst. Ever since then, we have not looked back, man. We've been doing Letters From Afar, like I said, for about 4.5 years, and it's just been an insane little ride, but it's awesome.
That leads me to the question I've always had for you, and this makes the perfect opportunity for it. How is it actually working with your wife? I know for me, there's no way me and my wife could work on any business together.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there is no, let's see how I'm going to say this. It's difficult, and it's not, because everything that's good is difficult, right? Like, if it was easy, everyone would, do something like that. And I've had to check my ego a lot.
Sure.
And just say that she's right on everything, which, 99% of the time she's dead on the money, and I'm the one that's like being stubborn and like difficult and dumb. But, we've gotten really good at delegation.
Okay.
And what she's not so good at, I'm good at. Because you don't want me writing or drawing these letters out, because it would look like, a fifth grader did it. A very bad fifth grader. And, and so that's kind of how we've really got the flow of everything now. It's like, she's got this side of it. I've got the fulfillment and, the customer service and all the other stuff that deals with it. And we just kind of feed off each other that way. Because at first, she's doing this, I'm doing this too, and we're on top of each other. And it's like, well, I don't like the way you do this. Well, I don't like the way you do that. But then it's like, okay, well, you do this, we'll kind of stay in our respective lanes of it and, combine on things we need to. But that's really how it's worked really well. And I can honestly say, and hopefully she could say this too, we have not had like a work disagreement in probably like 2 years.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
I would say, I don't know if that's just my short-term memory or what, but I would honestly say that we have not had any kind of like clashing for about 2 years in the business.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It is difficult, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like you kind of found your stride there with kind of staying not necessarily like in your lane really, but like kind of finding out what works best.
Well, you're trying to pick, what battles to pick. And like I said, she's always right. So I've just kind of like been like, she's right, Palmer. So just shut up. Like, she's right. She's got this. Let her roll with it. You knock out what you need to knock out. But she's my best friend too. and we can talk to each other about everything, and we can open up. So if something's bothering me about it, she knows where I'm coming from because she's right there with me.
Right.
So it's not like, it's not like where I was at UniFirst. I could complain to her about my job, but she wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Right. Because she's like, I don't know anything about what you
Exactly,
really do. I know you sell stuff and that's it. I can't really help. But with this, it's like, I felt this way a couple years ago with where I was with Letters, or I felt this way a couple months ago. This is how I got through it. And then that helps me get through it, and vice versa. Because I can look back and be like, remember how we felt last February? Like, this is why we feel the way this February, So it's just, I thought at first it'd be difficult, but it's been a blessing. It really has.
That's
And I'm just saying that because I'm on a podcast. I really it's the
we
truth.
have a recording of you now.
It's the truth. It's God's honest truth.
So I have a real question.
Let's do it.
What is Letters From Afar? What is?
So Letters From Afar is a letter subscription service to kids to help them learn about the world.
Okay.
And so each month, your child or a child will get a letter in the mail, and it'll have this new thing we've incorporated called field notes, which is like extra tidbits of, facts, fun facts and things like that, drawings of a map. And it's really it's really a fictional character. Her name is Isabel, and it's just her travels throughout the world. And so one month it could be, somewhere in Spain, and she writes about the food, the people, the animals, stuff that like kids, in the 5 to 10-year-old range would find interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of like our target market is probably the 5 to 10-year-old age range. And so that's, for each month, they'll get a different letter. And so that's really what it is. It's just to help kids learn that like it's a big world out there, and, all these places seem so, exotic, and some of them so far away, but like, you can go there, and like you can have your own adventure too. And, the world is big, but you can get to it, and you can get to anywhere in the world almost in 2 flights. And so that's what we're trying to like get kids and know that like, like you can go and do this too.
I love that. I mean, I think it's also great for the people, especially because everybody's on their phones now.
Yes.
To actually get a piece of mail. Like I remember as a kid when mail showed up from like my grandparents, you're like, oh, yeah, I got a letter.
Well, certainly.
Right.
Kids don't get, unless it's a birthday or Christmas, some of the kids don't get letters. And, and as an adult, the only letters you get is from AT&T saying that you need to pay your bill, or, your gas or electric or whatever. That's the only mail you get. I don't like getting mail anymore, honestly.
Exactly.
So it's fun for kids, and that's something, you're totally right with, technology, kids. And I've noticed this, iPads and phones and stuff have been, our Game Boy, right? We had the Game Boys and stuff like that. But it's fun to know that like kids still like getting mail, and like that it means something to them, and like they generally get excited. So it's a lot of fun. It's really crazy to think, we started, it was like this pays water bill. It's awesome. Now, we have like 10,500 subscribers.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So we send out a lot of mail each month, but it's really cool. It's really cool.
I like that. Yeah, I was just like scrolling through and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually legit. And it's nice because like...
Yeah, he's not conning people.
No, I was like scrolling through the website. I'm like, I'm just curious like what this all is. And like me growing up as a kid, I always like, I read so much fantasy and things based off like Greek mythos or like Egyptian mythos. I'm like, these places would be so cool, but that was hundreds, if not thousands of years ago.
Sure.
What is it like nowadays?
Yeah.
And this, I feel like would be great for kids who are like, oh, hey, I live here in America, or I live in like Australia, but what would it be like in this place?
What's it like in Indonesia? What's it like in Thailand, or, in Alaska, if you live in somewhere else? Because that's what's really cool. And we think about it is like someone somewhere else always wants to go somewhere else. Like, so we think Australia is like exotic, or Thailand exotic, and they're just, for them, it's home. Going to New York is probably maybe exotic to them, or, somewhere in Mexico might be exotic to them. So it's really neat. It's just trying to teach. And I think, and what I hope is that it helps people learn that there are other people living there too. And we're all people, and we all just want to have a good life, and we all just want to get along and try to meet people on a human level. Absolutely. I guess that's a big thing that I want to, I know that might be a grand pie in the sky idea for like a 5-year-old, but like maybe, just be nice to everyone. Like, hey, someone over there, they live in Japan, or they live in Thailand, or they live in anywhere, they're just people too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something important that gets overlooked a lot, especially nowadays. So I think a 5 to a 10-year-old, I think that's a fantastic way to learn about it. Just to kind of bring it all together in a fun, almost like you said, like a fantasy type of way where it's someone who doesn't exist, but it can bring you a story that's real and can connect you to those people. So I think that's neat.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It seems way cooler than Flat Stanley. Are you guys old enough to know who that is?
Yeah.
I don't know who Flat Stanley is. No.
So when I was a kid in elementary school, there was like one time a year, they were like, hey, you guys, and every kid in school pretty much read the same book. And it was about a kid who looked at the sky during a lightning storm and it turned him flat as a piece of paper.
Okay.
And then because he was flat as paper, they could just mail him anywhere. And so like kids would send it to your friends and family in different places and they would take them on adventures and then send it back to you.
That's pretty cool.
Like, right?
I was like, that's kind of cool. But the problem is my family lived across town. So like I didn't like, or the people I knew, I'm like, I don't know who to send this to.
Sure.
But it's nice because now you can get things from all over.
Most certainly.
Especially most people live here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, yes, Wilmington is growing, but a lot of people don't have family besides you have a group of people in PA or New York and you have a group of people in the Midwest.
Sure.
But this allows kids to learn things from all different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of excited.
So, Mr. Yaw, whenever your youngin' gets old enough, I'm expecting you to subscribe, my man.
I've actually been thinking about just subscribing for myself, to be honest.
Oh, well, there you go. Even better. We can set you right on up with that.
Right?
Yeah, I was looking at this. I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool to give to my nephews. But they just bought an RV.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so instead of them having a place to mail my stuff to, they're like 4 kids in an RV just traveling around the country.
That's on. And you know what's really funny about that is Shawnee, that's how she grew up.
Oh, really?
She was born in Texas and then they moved to Colorado, built a cabin. Her dad built a cabin out in Colorado. When they moved to the East Coast, they didn't really know where they were going to stay. So they all lived in an RV.
Wow.
And just drove around the country and the East Coast till they found a place. So that's pretty funny. You kind of mentioned that up. So maybe they might do the same thing.
I mean, that's actually
That's
cool.
neat. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to bring her on now.
She's much more interesting than myself.
I don't know about that.
I was going to say, it seems like you guys found each other for a reason. So
Most certainly. Most certainly. Of all the places, that's why when we first met, I was like, what are the odds? She lived in Colorado. They could have picked any state in the East to move. Kentucky. Okay. Kentucky's still a decent sized state.
Yeah.
And she's like, or they were like, we're going to move to Springfield, Kentucky, the town of 5 stoplights and nothing else. This is where we want to live. And then you meet this goofy redheaded dude. And then we've been going, I think, we've been together for 13 years now.
Oh, yeah.
We've been together for 13 years.
How'd you guys meet then? And it's just because there's only like 8 people that live there? Or did
There's more than 8 people.
okay.
So there was this new restaurant, of course, like anywhere else, new restaurant in town, you're going to go. And so it was this place called Snappy Tomatoes Pizza. And so I went in, hungry for a pizza.
Yeah.
And then she was in the back, like dishing them up. And I was like, who is this pretty brunette lady? I've never seen her before. And I asked a friend, and there's like, oh yeah, her name's Shawnee, and this, that, and the other. And then probably like a year or so later, I took Miss Shawnee on a date. So that's how she first caught my eye.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
She smelled like sausage and peppers and onions, and I was all over it.
You're like,
Still
ooh.
Ooh, yes, this is wonderful.
I was expecting to be like, well, she smelled like, bourbon or bacon, which is most of the things guys are like, oh my gosh, that's what I love.
No, sausage, onions, bell peppers. That's my go-to scent.
Right.
So like that was all over it. But no, that's how we met. And like I said, we've been going, for 13 years now. Been married for almost 8.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I think every episode so far I've been talking about Instagram because I've been talking about how pretty much all my friends, that's how I stay in contact with everyone now.
Most certainly.
And you guys been traveling quite a bit lately.
Yeah, and so that was another part of Letters From Afar that we wanted to incorporate was like we could travel and it'd be a business write-off.
Right.
And so, it's like, yes, this trip to Japan is for business purposes.
Exactly.
We're slaving away over here. So the first trip we took internationally was in 2019, and we went to Italy. And then a couple months later, we went to Japan. And then in 2020, I think we ended up going to 5 different countries.
Oh, wow.
And then COVID.
You did 5 countries before everything shut down?
Yes.
Whew.
I know. I felt like it was like getting
trip.
while the getting was good, you know?
Yeah.
Like we had no idea. But what was so funny about in November of 2020, we went to Thailand. And we had a connection in China. And so put your tinfoil hats on, kids. So I forgot the name of the city we were in. But they had, and this was in, like I said, November, they had those heat sensors on all their gates, and everyone was already wearing masks there. Wow. And we didn't know any different. We were like, it's Asia. A lot of people still wear the mask anyway, just out of like respect, smog and respect, I guess.
Yeah. No, we know it's if they don't feel good, they put a mask on. It can't be that much smog in Japan.
No, I was talking about China, not Japan.
Oh, well, China probably was smog. But anyway, so I just thought, well, this is kind of odd. But then again, like you didn't think anything of it. And then a couple months go by, February of 2021, it's like the pandemic or 2020, I'm sorry, the pandemic. Right. It's like, wow, like we were in China, like before COVID, like released, like what if we were patient zero and we brought this back, Thankfully someone in like Washington was the first person, but I would have felt real bad. It's like, we went to North Carolina as the epicenter of the COVID pandemic plaguing our country. And we're the guys, but no. But yeah, that was really, so traveling a lot. Then we just kind of got back to it. We went to Germany in October of last year.
So you just missed Oktoberfest.
Just missed Oktoberfest, yes, because it happens in September. Common misconception.
Misnomer.
Yeah, everyone thinks that. It's in October. I'm like, no,
it's in September.
It's the end of September.
I can see how you could get confused, but it was a lot of fun. Germany had a lot of awesome food. The people I thought they were very nice, and the one thing I'd messed up on though is I'm kind of cheap. So when you get a rental car, I'm not looking to bust the doors down on a rental car. Like I'm just trying to get to point A to point B safely. Like, you're already in it on the tickets, the food, this, that. Like I'm not trying to go wilding out on a rental car. But then when it hit me, I was like, man, I'm driving on the Autobahn. And I'm in a Taurus, like hybrid, like Toyota. It was awful. It sounded like a weed whacker going down the Autobahn, and all these dudes in their Porsches and BMWs, and they're just hauling ass. And I'm just like, just like barely scooting on down. And I thought, I've missed my shot. I was like, next time I go to Germany, I'm doing the real thing. I'm going to have like my James Bond moment driving around the Autobahn in like a swag Porsche 911 next time.
How fast did you get that Taurus going on the Autobahn?
Ooh-wee, I got that baby up to probably 100.
No way.
Yeah.
The question is,
I felt the nuts and bolts like it start to vibrate. So I was like, I probably need to crank those down. And Shawnee's like, slow down. But on certain parts of the whole thing is not wide open, but there are vast stretches of it that's wide open. And man, it would have been so much fun just to like put the pedal on the metal and just haul it. But yeah, I felt like it would almost be like entering into the atmosphere again with that little thing. Just, everything was shaking and vibrating. I was like, I better calm down.
So is there no speed limit on those parts?
Yeah, there's some parts that are, it's as fast as you want to go.
Wow.
I'm sure there's like a minimum.
Yeah, there is a minimum. So you can't, be graining in it. Probably what I was close to. But there are certain parts, when you're starting to enter a city district where you got to bring it on down. But once, it's so funny. It's like once you pass that district, everyone's just like waiting. And everyone's waiting. And you just see just like 5 or 6 people just start, just like flying. So yeah, next time in Germany, I'm going to get a real nice rental car. And I'm going to go for it.
That'll be fun.
And then we just booked tickets today. We're going to go to southern Spain and Morocco for Shawnee's birthday in end of March.
That'll be fun.
So that'll be a 10-day trip. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Have not been to Spain or Morocco yet. So I'm pumped for it.
I've only seen it on the Amazing Race. And that's about it.
Ooh. I'm excited for it. you don't want to, I guess, when you go somewhere, you don't want to have these misconceptions or expectations, really. Like, you just try to go in it with, unassuming eyes.
Right.
And so, other than just hopefully decent weather and good food, that's the only expectations I have. Nice. Like, I'm just ready just to experience and see what it's all about. But it's fun to get back out there again on the road. The pandemic was really tough just to kind of like, so you're not going anywhere, and that's kind of the whole point. And we built up so much steam in 2019 to like keep traveling, then puts a halt on everything. But it's good to stretch our legs back out again and start flying.
Nice.
That's good. What's been your favorite place so far?
Japan,
See?
100%.
I was telling him about that last night.
Yeah.
Was that last night?
I think so.
Yeah, my pop went there, and he was like, "It is so amazing. There's karaoke bars in every corner. There's a
That's what made it amazing.
Like, there's a little bar, and they either make really great sushi or they have really great alcohol." And I'm like, I'm too big to be wandering around Japan.
No, man. So outside of the flight over, we flew Wilmington to Chicago and then Chicago to Tokyo.
That was one hell of a flight.
That was a long flight. I did not think I had an ass after I got off that plane. I just thought it was straight backbone. But oddly enough, the first place we stayed, the woman that oversaw the property went to UNCW.
Oh,
No
really?
way.
She was like, "Oh, you're from, where are you from?" "We're from America." "Oh, where in America?" "We're from North Carolina." "Oh, wow, where in North Carolina?" It's like, what? And she's like, I went to UNCW and all this stuff. But Japan was awesome. The people were so nice. There was someone said that the Japanese people treat you how Southern people think they treat you. And that was probably the best description. They were all so nice, and whether they mean it or they're not, they were super, super kind. And, if you were struggling with something and they saw it, like, they would definitely help you. Like, we could not, you're at the Tokyo bus station, and we couldn't really figure out like where to really go. And so we asked this one lady, she was working in like this candy shop in the terminal, and she drops her mop and she walks us probably for a good 15 minutes. And she's like, "Stand right here." And she goes back to her work. I was like,
wow.
If you did that, anyone in the United States would just be like, "Piss off,
Right.
Can't help you," or it's down
you're
there, that way, whatever. But she was super kind into taking that. And then what else? The food was awesome. And we went in April, so we got to see all the cherry blossoms.
Oh, I bet those gorgeous.
And that was awesome. Like, that was a very unexpected, because we didn't really know. We were just, again, the airfare is cheap right now, so we're going to go to Japan.
Yep.
And it just coincided with the cherry blossoms. So when we were in Kyoto, we just saw the cherry blossoms along the canals and stuff, and it was awesome. I'm trying to think what else was so fun about Japan. Went to an onsen.
What is that?
I was going to say,
So
we're going
it's-
to need a definition of that.
Okay, so a Japanese onsen, it's like a bathhouse.
Okay.
So a spa or something like that. And, the Japanese people have a very harsh stigma towards tattoos because prisoners would get tattooed. And then when they didn't want to associate with that number or, whatever the symbol was on their back, they'd get bigger tattoos. And so the Yakuza, which is kind of like the Japanese mob, I suppose, for lack of a better term, they would always have these big, elaborate back pieces or tattoos to cover up their prison symbols or numbers or whatnot. So that's kind of a stigma that the Japanese people still have. So being a Westerner with tattoos, there were certain bathhouses that wouldn't let you in.
Oh, wow.
And so when we were in Hakone, this little mountain town, we had to ask, we asked the guy working the front desk, like, "Where can I go in onsen?" He's like, "You can go right here." So we go take the bus to this awesome, just like nestled in the mountains, this little onsen. And so Shawnee's kind of unassuming. Shawnee's very shy. And so for her to like do a bathhouse or something like that is very much like definitely stepping outside her realm. I'm all for it. I don't really care. Like, no, who else, who knows me, here around here? Nobody. Like, no one's going to see me again. Like, so if I got to be nude, like, whatever. Like, no one's going to, it's not like my grandma's going to be in there, like, someone like that. I'm not going to see anyone I know. And so, she's like, "All right, well," so she goes off to the women's side, and I go to the men's side, and everything's in Japanese. So now it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do. Like, what am I going to do? Like, how do I navigate this in a way that I don't look like a complete jackass? So anyway, so there's like, it's You have your little towel, which their towel they give you is not big enough to even cover like my ass. So like, how am I going to try to cover everything? And so you kind of walk over there and it's like, all right, this guy just walked in too, so I'm just going to follow him and see what he does. So I was undressed, put my clothes in here, all this stuff, and get my locker, and then I lose them. I'm like, dang, like, where'd he go? So I don't want to seem like a creeper either, because I want to follow this naked man around, this Caucasian dude just like following around this this old Japanese man. And so anyway, I saw him, and he was over by this tub, just ladling this water on its head. I was like, that must be the shower, because I didn't know, never been here before. So I was like, okay, maybe that's where you clean off. Mm-hmm. So I wait till he's gone, give him a 30-second, to go do his thing. I go over there and dip down there, and I turn that ladle of water over my head, and it is so damn cold. Like, I could have screamed. I mean, just piercing cold. And I could have screamed out loud, but I was like, you can't scream. And then you can't just dunk it once.
No, you
can't just do it once, because then that looks dumb. So I'm sitting there just pouring this cold water over my head, just being like, Paul, you're so dumb. And while I'm doing that, I look over and I see the showers right behind me. And so I'm thinking, okay. So then I go to the shower and I clean off. And then after that, you kind of see they have cold tubs and various hot tubs, and it's so beautiful, man. It's just built into this mountainside. So like, you're just looking up the mountain, and there's all these bamboo groves, and there's all this just awesome forest scene. There's like a river that's kind of running by. And then you're just kind of hopping from tub to tub and just kind of doing your thing. And there was this younger guy there with his son, and he kind of like waved at me and stuff. So I waved and be nice and whatnot. And so after probably 30, 40 minutes doing the whole tub thing, he gets up and goes into like this terracotta hut. And so me being just kind of super like interested, like, wonder what's going on in there. Like, what's in the terracotta hut? So get out, and he started dipping his hands in salt stuff before he went in there. He had this big thing of salt. And so I walk over and, put both my hands and grab the salt, and I'm just going in this terracotta hut, with 2 hands of salt, ready to rock and roll, see what everything, see what life's about to give me. And walk in, and it's like dead quiet. And you see this one candle at the very end flickering, and it's hot as hell. It's such a hot sauna. I mean, I feel like I'm a hot pocket at this point.
Yeah.
And you just walk in, and there's all these old Japanese men, like cross-legged, like meditating. I was like, what is this? Like, this is such a weird. I was like, this is not what I bargained for. This is not what I expected was going on in this place. And you go, and it's just so hot, just like the breath almost just zapped out of you. And you sit, and so I'm sitting there with my 2 hands of salt. I'm ready to rock and roll. What am I going to do with it? And so he sees I'm in here, and he sees that I have no freaking clue what's going on, obviously. And so I kind of motioned to him. I'm just kind of like, what do I do with salt? And he's like, just wait. So, okay. So I'm just sitting there waiting, just kind of doing my thing, sweating. And then he's like, okay. And so he's like, start rub salt all over you. I was like, okay, I'll rub. I feel like I'm big, like pork belly or something. Right. Like I'm just like this fat dude. I was like, rub this all over me. And turns out the salt kind of like is an exfoliator.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so this is kind of nice. And so after being there for probably 20 minutes or so, because, you can't, he left. And I was like, well, I can't just leave exactly when he leaves. Again, your ego's getting in the way. It's like, I got to stay here a couple more minutes, right. Like I'm about to die, but I'm going to stay here a couple more minutes. But dude, you left there and I felt like a brand new penny. Like I felt so good.
Oh,
like
wow.
I was slick and I was nice and it was awesome feeling. And so I got in the cold tub and, I was on my way. I was there for probably 2 hours. So I go out and I try to find Shawnee. I was like, mate, I was refreshed, dude. I was like, oh, this is heaven. Like I could do this all the time. Yeah. Like what an awesome experience. And so I go find Shawnee, and she's like laying in this one room on tatami mats. And she's like, finally, here you are. And I was like, oh man, finally. I was like, how long was I in there? She's like 2 hours. And I was like, well, how long were you on your side? She's like 15 minutes. Oh, no. I was like, 15 minutes? She's like, 15 minutes. She's like, she was like, every time I got in a tub, all the women would leave and go to the next tub. And she's like, and I felt super bad. And she's like, and then she's like, I saw like there's like pubes in the water and they're like floating towards me. So she's like, I got out of there. And I was like, so you've been laying down for like an hour and a half. She's like, yep, I've been outside for an hour and a half waiting on you. And I was like, well, let me tell you about my experience. Like, I had an awesome time. But no, Japan is so awesome. Once it opens back up and the world kind of comes back to, like, I can't wait to go again. Like,
that is neat.
It's awesome. And I can't recommend it to you guys to go enough. Like, it's the bomb. The food's the bomb. Getting around is easy. It's just so cool.
That is awesome.
So cool.
That's always been a place I've wanted to go to. My main like hesitation is like, how do I know what to do over there and whatnot? But it sounds like it's pretty easy to figure it out.
Go to onsen. Right. No, it's so easy, man. They have like a rail pass that's really easy to buy, and you can get on the bullet trains and navigate the whole country. There's just so much to do and so much to see. Like we were there for probably 8 days.
Wow.
And we could have spent easily another 5 or 6 without even like trying. You know, there's
That's
so
awesome.
much to do. So yeah, do it.
Definitely gonna have to.
I'll add it to my list of places.
Yeah, it's an awesome place.
That one's
Awesome
always
place.
been top, so that's gonna have to be sooner than later if I can find childcare.
There you go.
So you were talking about the cold water.
Yes.
So you know where this is going.
I do know where this is going.
You have a pool in their backyard,
I do.
and you've been getting into it when it's been pretty darn cold for some cold therapy.
Yes, I have. So I have this big hesitation with getting older. I think I fear it really, and my wife would definitely say that I have a phobia of getting older. And so I just turned 31, and I just kind of noticed in my workouts I'm not like recouping as quick, and I don't know if it's being 31. I don't know if it's I'm not eating like enough carbs. I don't know what it is, but it's like my buddy of mine was like, you need to try cold therapy. And he's like he lives up in Boone, and he's like laying down in the snow, and he's like putting ice in his bathtub and all this stuff. And then when I was back home in Kentucky, he babysat our dogs and stuff, and he was getting in the pool. And so we kind of have a relationship was like, well, if he's doing it, then I'm going to do it, you know, kind of like that ego driven thing. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm going to do it. And so I've recently just been going about waist deep. I just got a new tattoo, so I can't go like full on, but I've been doing waist deep just to like, because my legs have been soreness is just not leaving my legs. So I've been doing that, and it's been an experience. And then you freaking, the day it snowed here, you know, the only time it ever snows, you're like, can't wait to see that cold therapy session you do later. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to do it just because Tyler y'all popped off and said something. And so I did. It was snowing in the background, and I sent you that video of me in the cold, doing the cold therapy in the pool. But you know, it's just one of those things that helps you in life, you know, whether there is sure there are benefits in cold water, health benefits and to your muscles and stuff, but it's also so, like, I hate cold water.
Same.
I hate cold water.
I can't do it.
No, it's you know, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like you're on this. It's like, well, you push yourself to do the uncomfortable, and it's like trying to find yourself, or just try to like control yourself or control your body in uncomfortable situations. Kind of like when we were punching each other in the face.
Right.
Like, it's not really natural. I don't really want to punch people in the face. Like, it's not like I'm going to walk up and just like, you know, kick someone in the shin or anything. But it's just, you know, it's just being comfortable doing uncomfortable things. And that's just one thing I'm trying to push myself to do. And so if that's getting in my pool when it's 30 degrees outside and snowing, when that water's about 45 degrees, then that's just what I'm going to do. But it's all, you know, it's all for science and all for health. So, you know, it can't be all bad, can it?
I've done something similar too. I did the 75 hard program with Andy Frisella, and he has the whole Live Hard program. And so the first session after 75 hard with Live Hard is you have to take a cold shower once a day for,
I think you said 5 minutes.
I think it's 5 minutes. I think I was doing it for 10 by the end of it, just because.
This guy.
No, it's the Palmer thing. It's the like ego driven thing.
Sure.
It's like, oh, you say 5, I'm doing 10 because I can.
Yes.
And then there's me. I'm like, this is not hot enough.
No.
As soon as I take a shower and it starts cooling down, I'm like, Yep, it's time to get out.
Yes. It's like, all right, I'm done. Now, when you did that, man, I'll tell you what, I was like, man, Tyler's over there freaking killing it doing this. And there was a part of me that was like, I should do it too. Right. But I didn't do it.
I'm thinking about starting it again if you want to join.
Oh, boy, here we go again. So how was it for you, though?
It was fantastic. It was probably the one most, not to be like overzealous or anything, but it was probably one of the most transformational things I've ever done.
Really?
Absolutely. Hands down.
Over getting married and having a child.
I said one of the most. Don't get me in trouble. Well,
technically, having the child didn't transform him.
True. It transformed his life.
Yeah. But when it comes to, just to kind of back up and do it kind of briefly, I don't want to take over the show.
No.
But when I was in middle school and high school, I was a wrestler. I was like, that was my thing. That's who I was. I was driven for it.
Okay.
And when I got out of high school and into college, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to do this kind of like corporate thing and kind of go along the road, do what I'm supposed to do and whatnot.
Yes.
And found myself kind of getting into a rut. And I found 75 Hard being something, hey, this is what is going to change in your life. It's going to be hard. It's in the name. And if you want to build actual discipline in your life to make these changes that you know you need to make, you're just not doing it, this is what you need to do. And a few of my friends started doing it, not unironically at a bar. So I was like, oh, you know what? If these guys are doing it, I can certainly do it.
Sure.
A lot of them ended up dropping out. And two of them that I'm still really good friends with, and we talk about 75 Hard and Live Hard a lot with, they finished it. I finished it right behind them. And just the way you feel afterwards, there's no other type of like satisfaction you get of something that you know people have dropped out of that you've been able to finish.
So what was the most, what part of it was it like working? Because it's like doing one 75-minute exercise outside. Was that one of the deals?
They're 45 minutes, but yeah. So the whole program. Here's your plug, Andy. The program is you have to drink a gallon of water a day.
Okay.
You have to read 10 minutes of 10 pages of a book every day.
Can it be fiction?
No, nonfiction.
Dang.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of.
Can it be Letters From Afar?
Sorry.
Dang.
It has to be some kind of self-help or business book.
Okay.
45-minute workout indoors, 45-minute workout outdoors. And I think there's something else that I'm missing, but I can't remember. Oh, and a picture of yourself every single day.
Okay.
And honestly, the thing.
So you have a lot of pictures with your shirt off on your phone, don't you?
Yes, I do. I actually just went through a couple weeks ago and deleted them. I'm like, I can't even stand.
No, you need to make a collage. You
this.
should have just gone day 1 to 75 and just like posted it. And like, now I can delete you.
I kind of did something similar to that. But yeah, the hardest thing is remembering to take that picture at the end of the day. But also, it's funny because he has a book out too, and it's called 75 Hard. And the really cool thing about this book is obviously I'm reading it faster than going through the program. And it's telling you, this is how I felt during these times of doing 75 Hard. And I'm like, everyone's different. I wonder what it's going to be like for me. It was nearly identical for me. So It was kind of like reading in the future of what I was going to go through. Like the most notable ones, first week you're doing it and you're super excited. You're like, I'm going to crush this shit. Like there's
optimism
no
is
way.
peak at that point.
Everyone's so hyped that first week.
Right. And then like even day 4 and 5, you're like, this ain't shit. Like I got this. Like this is going to be the easiest 75 days ever. Literally day 8 hits and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
My legs are going to fall off from running so much. My arms are going to fall off from lifting so much. And then as soon as you get past that, you're like, okay, I know I still have 2 months of this. We'll make the best of it. And then you kind of get into your groove and whatnot. But the next most notable is 2 weeks before you finish. You can see that finish line 14 days out. And every single last one of those days sucks.
Sure.
Because you can see that finish line and you're so tired. You're so worn out from everything. But as soon as that day hits, you're like, I finished it. I'm one of the few that was able to get this done. And then your discipline just is exponential at the end of that. If you decide to do on any task after that day, you will get it done in the time frame that you want to get it done. It's incredible.
Interesting. Man.
I don't know. I went through basic training.
Oh.
And I was like,
what branch of the military?
I'm not that cool, but I did the National Guard.
No, dude, I think that's still so cool.
So it was still Army basic training, but it was the most like mental booming thing because you get there in the first week, you're all doing pre stuff, and you're like, why did I do this? Why did I sign up?
The meter of like, I'm jazzed, I'm nervous, I'm going to basic, but I'm doing this.
Yeah,
and then
right.
I'm sure, do they yell at you a lot?
Well, I was in that transitional phase where my drill sergeants yelled at us, but they were also like, we're about to get out of here, so we're not going to be as mean. I got yelled at more by drill sergeants that weren't even in charge of me. So, yeah, you get there and people start yelling at you, but you're like, okay, I can do this. And then the thing that hurt my soul was every day you go to chow, and the lovely ladies who serve us chow have a board, and for every unit, it says how many more days they have left. And you get there, and it's like, these people have 7 days in a wake up. And you're like, you look at yours, and it was 8 more weeks. And I'm like, oh. And it just kept getting closer and closer.
So how long was your basic training in total?
Mine was single station, so I was there 14 or 15 weeks straight.
Whoa.
I got there in the beginning of September, and I left like January 28th. And I had like 10 days, maybe. No. Yeah. I had 8 days for Christmas break.
Dang.
Dude, that's some commitment. You know, when people are like, you know, that's one thing I really like, you know, or at least respect about a lot of people that join the military, whether you saw combat or not, or, you know, like that's kind of irrelevant. Like you had to go through, give up a chunk of your life just to even do basic training
Right.
is a lot to give up. But that's a lot. 15 weeks. That is so much time, man. And you're in there just getting after it every day, eating this chow, eating this slop. You're doing your, you know, all your physical activity, and you're learning all this. That's a long time.
It's one of the only things, too, where you actually sign your life away for a given amount of time.
Yes.
I mean, I signed my life away for other things.
Like marriage.
Yes.
But that's an interesting way to look at being married.
But I don't mean it in a bad way.
But you still, at least I got paid. And it was back in, like, it was in 09 when I was like, oh, I'm making more than minimum wage right now.
Sure.
And now I look back and I'm like, but
At what cost was I making more than minimum wage?
oh, I love that.
All right, we're coming up on our time here today. I do want to end with a question that I think I'm going to start asking everyone nowadays is if you could ask, or if you could tell the younger version of yourself anything, what would it be?
Wow. You know, I think about this a lot.
Really?
I do think about this a lot. I think I would tell the younger version of myself to not sweat the future so much. Because I hated where are you going to see yourself in 5 years? I hated that question. Like, cause you get posed that in high school and then in college, like your 5-year plan. And I hated that because I had no clue. Like, who can realistically look into the 5-year plan and, you know, it wasn't me. Like, I couldn't be like,
Right.
5 years. Do you think in a million years, Palmer in 2009 would be like, I'm going to be selling letters to kids in Wilmington, North Carolina? That was never in my 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20-year plan. So I think I would tell myself to like, don't sweat the future so much. Just like enjoy the moment, and, you know, opportunities will come and everything. The chips will fall where they may, but just don't sweat the small stuff and don't sweat the future so much. I think that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah.
Because I worried about that a lot.
Yeah, it's very true. That is something that gets thrown out a lot, and I think you're absolutely right. Let kind of have that idea, but definitely just kind of take it day by day, follow it where it goes.
Yeah, opportunities bring other opportunities.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Here we are.
Well, dude, thank you guys so much. Like, this is so much fun.
I had a
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll definitely be back on soon. This was a lot of fun. We might just get one just get some more alcohol and hang out. And
Yeah, man, that'd be great. Like I said, I've got a garage, opened up. If y'all need some studio space, like I'm here to help.
yeah, we'll do it.
So before you leave, what's your plug? Like where can people find you guys? Or
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Shameless plug time. So if you just search Letters From Afar in Google, it will be the first thing to pop up. Perfect. And Letters From Afar on Instagram. That's where we do a lot of our content creation. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Lettersfromafar.com, and then just search us on Instagram, and there we are.
We'll put you down in the show notes too, and hopefully make it easy for anyone who's listening.
Whiskey and Wisdom podcast sponsored by Letters From Afar. a children's letter subscription.
You do not get a bottle of whiskey with it.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
oh Lord.
All right. Thank you, Palmer, first and foremost. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, we were sipping on some Knob Creek today, and it was fantastic, especially since Palmer brought it for us. Again, you can find us on Spotify right now and Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and most other podcast stations. See you next time on the pod.
All right. See you later, Palmer.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.